I'd like to introduce a gaming partner that we've been working with who is focused on designing experiences for high performance desktops as well as thin and light laptops, powered by our latest graphics products.
You go first. It's your chicken. Follow me! Combiner!
Welcome to Brian Etheridge, Director of Publishing at Tripwire.
Hey, Roger. How are you doing? Really happy to be here.
We've had the privilege of working with Tripwire on a number of titles, Killing Floor, Maneater, Chivalry 2. Can you tell us how Tripwire got started and its path to publishing?
Tripwire really started as sort of a scrappy group of modders working together on a total conversion mod for Unreal Tournament 2004. It was actually my first experience with Tripwire because I played that mod to death. And I loved the realism. It was something that they hadn't quite done in shooters yet at that point. And so, the mod is what they entered into the Make Something Unreal contest in 2004, and they won. And with that, they got funding and Unreal licenses, and that kicked off the Tripwire that we know today. Tripwire got into publishing because of that experience.
Chivalry 2 is the first deep collaboration between Tripwire as a publisher and Intel. What can you share about this collaboration so far?
Chivalry was a groundbreaking game, much in the way that kind of Red Orchestra sort of set the standard for realism in shooters. I think Chivalry did the same thing in terms of, really setting the tone for melee combat in a first-person game. John Gibson, our CEO, and Steve Piggott from Torn Banner, they had been friends for some time. So, the collaboration made a lot of sense for us to both having worked with Intel to get together on this one. We worked together to integrate variable rate shading into Chivalry 2 as a way to really tackle some of the performance bottlenecks. I think that really helped us to expand the machines that we can bring the game to. Chivalry 2 is a beautiful game when you look at it on a high-end machine, and to see it run and look good and play well on, a laptop with an integrated graphics card, I mean, that's amazing.
As the PC platform evolves overall, how has that really helped you break new ground with Chivalry 2?
I think Chivalry 2 is about reliving these medieval battles from movies. And to get there, you need, beautiful scenes and a volume of players. You don't get an epic castle siege by having like 8 guys running across back and forth on the battlements. You need loads of flaming arrows and catapults slamming into castle walls and ballistas impaling fully armored knights. 64 players all piling in around, a flag or rallying to a banner to save their lord or something like that.
We've been collaborating with you for a while now to help ensure that the game can take full advantage of Intel's latest and future graphics products. Can you tell us about some of the work you're doing?
We built a scene to really showcase how you can improve the performance without giving up on the quality. When we're taking a look at like a castle siege scene, for example, from Chivalry 2 with VRS on, in the demo that we made, we added a bunch of content and features that would work well specifically with that. So, we use things like VRS 2x2 at a base pass. And, this is kind of a brute force method of applying VRS, but in gameplay, you get to mess around like with, you could choose a camera mode, for example. And that's something that toggles the shading rates based on your camera movement and player controls. And that's kind of what I mentioned before. It's this tool that helps us sort of overcome some of the things that you would normally see. We've talked about motion blur in the past as being a really great thing to help us sort of like overcome potential performance loss. And, VRS is a tool that just makes that look even better.
One of the themes of today is really about how do you build products that address user needs? And what do you see as the biggest needs of your players? And what are some of the emerging opportunities in gaming to meet user needs that get you excited?
Yeah, I think the biggest need of PC gamers is really keeping up with the latest games, right? That's what they want to be playing, whether it's a VR title or a more recent version of their favorite shooter. But in the past, that's been one of those things that's kept people from getting into PC gaming. With things like VRS and PC players nowadays, especially, have it so much better, right? I get excited about little things that get us closer to sort of like truly realistic gameplay, whether it's having like an actual city that's filled with people or tons of people on a battlefield, voice commands, things like that, and really intelligent AI.
Chivalry 2, it launches in June, and it's been about a 9-year journey. I mean, that's quite a haul. What can you tell gamers to expect, and what do you think they're going to get really excited about?
When they pick it up on the Epic Game Store, I think they can expect to see just nonstop melee action, tons of players, tons of over-the-top weapons, and I think they're really going to get a kick out of playing these battle scenes. It's like it really is like a crazy medieval movie battle that you've seen in tons of movies, and I love that about it.
I thank you so much for your time. It's an honor to talk with you. We have the greatest respect for your team, and we're super excited about Chivalry 2. And I look forward to seeing millions of gamers playing this on June 8th.
Thank you so much, Roger. And I really look forward to seeing you on the battlefield.